this is again intended for the parents or teachers who want to implement this game, and an explanation how to do it or what we should take care of, or how we can see the progress, so to speak. So first of all, this is the very first strategy game, and for example, compared to chess, it can be explained in 5 minutes, and it has a lot of potential for individual progression in it. A whole game lasts only 2 to 5 minutes, and the most important thing is the students can notice their own mistakes and try to, well, make it better. And this is kind of the most important part about strategy game. To get the most cognitive benefit out of it, you need to have an understanding of the game and of the position that you can reflect on your own moves. And also there is an interesting point that there is actually a perfect solution for the game, and it's feasible for the best students, grade 3 and 4, actually to get it in a short time. If you want to see the rules, you can pause again, otherwise we'll skip to the insights. First of all, the game is easy to learn, which is a huge benefit, that you can start right away. You don't need to take a break between it. Also, it does promote your strategical thinking in a playful way, because you don't like to lose, and losing against peers or your parents, it forces you to reflect and rethink and to make a better strategy. And you can also copy it from other students, and ideally it's also taught in a group of students. And the whole goal for us, not for the students, the goal is to win, but for us is that the students learn to think. To think, meaning they can anticipate the moves of the opponent, understand what he wants to do, and try to play a move that regards all possibilities of myself and of the opponent, actually to calculate the consequences of your own decision. And it sounds let's say it sounds quite big, but it's really something big for a child of grade 3 or 4 to actually start reflecting of your own decisions. That this is really a huge step, and therefore this is kind of the part why I'm doing this strategy course for you, because it really has a great benefit for cognitive thinking. Also, the earlier you start to develop such kinds of methodological thinking, the further it stays and keeps progressing. And finally, there is also a perfect solution actually for the game, and the students can actually find it. And if they can, then it's easy to move past the game, past the way, or to repeat it later. Also, they have fun and are motivated to show it to their own peers or to another one, and just to keep engaged in the game, and the game itself is pretty beneficial. Before we start, I want to also present, let's say, 4 strategical steps that you can reach in this game. I defined the steps myself, but I think they're pretty reasonable. So let's move to the board. And if we start the board, the very first step on the ladder, if you have no strategy at all. If you just move the pieces randomly, then usually at the beginning, for example, the very first game, the fox always wins, because it's easy just to get past. The next step of the strategical ladder is if the black's player gets the idea that you shouldn't put weaknesses in your own position. Because if there are weaknesses, the fox can abuse it and win the game. You can also make some kind of a hints, not the solution to the hints, but you just remind them that black shouldn't allow the fox to get through. And if you get to that point, then this is something that everybody should get after, let's say, 5 games, that you should start with the furthest pawn and just close any space so the pawn white fox cannot get through it. For example, this is what I call the wall, because black moves ideally as a wall. And usually what I experience that foxes just move back, and then black repeats the same task again, and then he repeats the same task again, and finally that's how black wins. So this is something that anybody should get to a point. Also, don't forget to let the students play with both colors the game, so each can try slug with white and with black. Then once we have done it, the next step on the ladder is if white remembers that black cannot capture the white's pawn, and this is something already that they need to get past their fears or the intuition, because they are at first, most of the pupils are afraid and move backwards, that you can run into black and black cannot do anything to white, at least not immediately. And if black's idea is to play b6, a7 to b6 right now, then white can just destroy it with c5 to b6. And once the students come to this conclusion, there's also a further step that I will explain right away. But right now, once they get to this position, usually white always win, because black has to make some kind of a weakness and then white pulls through. This is not the final solution, but at least now the students have already made progress, because they have a strategy for black and they have a strategy against the strategy of black. That's already something that they learned. But ultimately there is a perfect solution, and black does win in the end, and I will explain it to you in detail. Again, your job is not to explain this to students because they shouldn't admire you or us as the teachers. They should find anything themselves. If you show them anything that destroys the process of own development. So this is only for you to understand that there is a final solution, and that's how it goes. First of all, we of course block the pawn on a7. Now it's black to move, and black can only move this one. That's the only way how black can hold the position. Now white moves and black moves again. Since black wants to close the wall again, we have to move to d6. Now this is the only correct move that I won't go into detail, but I think it's pretty obviously. Now this is the only way, and black has to play c7 to d6. And now there are two possible paths, but if you move to f4, then black just plays like this. And again, he has a full coverage and we cannot pull through, for example. Or if we go back, the other way is if we go here, then the whole point of the position is that black can win, but he has counterintuitively changed the lanes. So, for example, this is the a7 pawn or the b8 pawn, and he moved to the c line, whereas with the wall strategy, the wolves don't leave their own two lines. But here, with f6 e5, black is winning. For example, if white tries that way, black can cover it, or if we go the other way, then black again can cover it. And in the end, black wins this position. An interesting point is you can also do it as a task to analyze. I did it actually as one of the tactical positions, that we start with this move. Now black is to move, black moves here, we move back. Black has to, let's give me a minute, I'll move here. So black moves that way, and we block the move e7 to f6. This is kind of also the way how to try to ruin black's idea. But again, if white does this, it's still winning for black with the right move. So if we move to the d line, then it's the same position that we had just a minute earlier. Or if we just stick to the g5, to the left side, then f6 to g5. We cannot go forward because we lose straight away, meaning we have to move backwards. Now black plays to h6. Seems a bit dangerous, so that's why we have to cover it. But in the end, after all, black is completely fine and has any position intact. So these are the 4 strategical ideas that white can develop. First strategy is no strategy at all. Then there is the wall. Then there's the prophylactical thinking to destroying the wall. And finally, this is the very hardest part. Usually I don't even ask the students to come to that part. I'm fine if they get to the 3rd stage. But ultimately, black is still winning if he does everything correctly. But for the last part, it's really about calculation and doing everything perfect.